WBCN Boston Talking Heads, once in a lifetime. And they've been here before, so it's not really once in a lifetime. But please welcome to BCN from Talking Heads and Tom Tom Club, Tina Weymouth. Hi, Tina. Welcome.
Hi.
And also Chris Franz.
Hello. What's happening?
They are the two halves of the rhythm section and the marriage in Talking Heads. And how's everything holding up? There's a lot of questions I want to ask in terms of the complexities of your group in terms of, two of you are married, which is nice, better than four of you were married. That would be confusing.
Well, actually, we have 9 people on stage now, and a lot of us are married, so there's a lot of wives now.
What about and husbands?
Yes,
well,
husbands.
Who's with you on the
wives.
current? Is Buster Jones playing with you this time around?
No, Buster didn't make it this time, but we got Tina's on our only bass player now, and we also have Bernie Worrell on keyboards, and Steve Scales on percussion, and Alex Weir on guitar, and Lynn Mabry and Edna Holt on background vocals, plus the usual 4.
So the Talking Heads grows with every tour.
Yeah, we grew by 1 this time.
Well, that's a comfortable size. So you're you're playing Providence tonight, the Providence Civic Center. I think there are some tickets still available for that.
I heard a rumor there was some left. Yeah,
a couple in the back there, but
the bad seats.
Well, actually, no. Providence Civic Center, there really are no bad seats. I don't think I've ever seen.
I was only there once. I saw the Moscow Circus and a lot of bears.
Well, that's something like the Talking Head show, so that should be enjoyable. That's tonight. The other night you played. We got one of our listeners called up with an interesting story. You played out a University of Lowell show that was in Billerica. Was that Tully Hall? Is that what it was?
Yes,
Sunday night.
some kind of hockey
Tully
rink.
Forum in Billerica, a hockey rink, and the lights went out in the middle of the show.
Yeah, they supplied us with a generator there that had been manufactured in 1943.
I think that was the one that I used to run my Lionel trains with, and
Anyway, it blew up. It caught on fire. Fortunately, it was outside the building, so it didn't burn down the house.
So it would have been kind of nice if it turned out during the right song that it had burned down the house.
It almost did, but...
So what else is happening in terms of the group and its the possibilities of longevity? It's now 6 years on record, anyway, actually longer since the group's been around. Now, everyone has their own interests. Each of the 4 of the main Talking Heads has done, well, you two have done the Tom Tom Club, now with your second album out. And let's see, Jerry's had a solo album out, and so has the madman himself, your fearless leader. He's had a couple of solo efforts out now. What is David Byrne? So is this strengthening the fact that you're a band and staying together, or is this kind of all leading out to other things?
Think so. We think it makes us a better band. It makes us appreciate each other when we get back together, and it makes us sort of stretch out a bit in other directions when we're not together.
Is that...
It's positive, yeah.
What is the breakdown of time in terms of over a course of a typical year for Talking Heads? How much time is spent on your own things? How much time is spent?
Mostly on Talking Heads.
So that is
Talking Heads is like the mothership.
Yeah, we fit everything else in between when we aren't together. We just...
It's been different each year. Some years we've toured like 8 months, and then we found out that's really a bad idea. But it might be good for somebody like Iron Maiden who thrives on it. But for us, it made us just want to kill each other. And then the next year we toured like hardly at all. And now we're getting more and more back into the live aspect of our career. But we don't know exactly when we can, say, for example, work on more tom-tom stuff, or say, lately we've been thinking maybe it might be nice to do music for films and stuff. But we don't know when, because with Talking Heads, we're working up until the end of this month in America. Then we have to do some more of our famous videotapes. Because, these days it's not cool to just be a musician. You have to, be a movie star, too, or at least try.
Well, it does seem to help these days, also. It's the video exposure does help.
But it's mandatory, otherwise the record company doesn't think you're promoting your record, right? So, and then we're going to the Far East and Australia and places like that. And
how have Talking Heads records sold in places like the Far East?
Does well in Japan. Actually, Tom Tom Club did a little bit better last time, but I expect Talking Heads will do even better this time.
Talking Heads has a strong following there.
We had a gold record in New Zealand with take me to the river.
Because that only means that 100 sheep bought it.
That's right.
But it's still that's a lot of sheep.
Hey,
in
but
it.
still, we were bigger than Rod Stewart. You know?
These days, that's not saying a whole lot, but that's okay. Your records have picked up in sales. You're like hit artists. Did you ever think back in '77 when Talking Head '77 came out that you'd be top sellers, that you'd be records?
I
would be
think
up
we
there?
always felt we were lucky to even get one record out there, and that everything else was just a miracle.
Let's play something from the latest album, Speaking in Tongues, and then we'll come back and we'll play something from your new Tom Tom Club album as well. WBCN, Boston, Mass, and back in studio again with our guests, Tina Weymouth and Chris Franz. Welcome again.
Thank you.
From Talking Heads and Tom Tom Club. And also, neither of you is from the Providence area, but you did all meet at Rhode Island School of Design, and is that where Talking Heads did start there?
Well, we were students there.
Mm-hmm.
And we moved to New York to form Talking Heads.
Oh, so actually,
Chris and me and David.
So the idea was born at RISD, but you didn't actually...
Yeah, we sort of made we had our original concept there, I guess you could say. But that's our old stomping grounds.
So is this going to be like almost old home week going back to Providence?
Sort of, although it's funny to be at the Civic Center instead of...
Lupo's.
But we'll see what happens.
Times do change. I'm sure the Lupo's crowd will be at the Providence Civic Center as well. But there would have been no room for the Providence Civic Center crowd at Lupo's, so that's why they had to have it at the Providence Civic Center. Where are you going after the show tonight? Where are we going to catch you?
Boy, actually...
Your favorite bars or something?
Well, what is it? Leo's.
Leo's, that's a famous bar. And club and hangout.
But
scene.
actually, Tina and I, we travel by bus with our little youth. There was he's 11 months old today, in fact.
Oh, I thought it was
so we
gonna be-
travel by bus, and we got to go like straight from the gig in Providence to Binghamton, New York.
Binghamton, you're playing at the State University out there, at Harper University?
Well, I think it's called SUNY.
Right,
State.
they're all called the State University.
Oh, they have a name.
Each
also,
one, Binghamton
two
is
names.
Harper
Okay,
College.
that's where we're going to be.
So after the show tonight, you can follow them to Binghamton, which is not as exciting as Providence. So that's tonight at the Providence Civic Center, Talking Heads, and so you said you have another month left to this tour, right?
Just about, yeah. I think we're working the East, the South, and the Southwest. I think we finish up in Austin, Texas, which is a good place to finish a tour.
So from the Deep South, you go off to the Far East after that.
Yes, that's correct.
And what I want to say, is there any thoughts of touring as Tom Tom Club or appearances as Tom Tom Club? You've done separate videos for Tom Tom and separate records, of course.
Yeah, in fact, we have a new video coming out soon for a new single off that album called The Pleasure of Love, which is another animated cartoon, except the last one took place in the daytime, and this cartoon takes place at night. And but we've always wanted to tour Tom Tom Club, but let me tell you, it's time-consuming enough to tour Talking Heads without doing the both, so we have to wait until the time is right for that.
Till your young child can help carry the equipment and stuff.
Right.
Well, actually, the single you just mentioned will probably be the next single. That's the video for Tom Tom Club. But there is a first single from Tom Tom Club from the new album called "The Man with the Four-Way Hips."
Mm-hmm.
Any particular meaning to just
It's
particularly
just
good dancer?
a man for all seasons, you know.
Why don't we hear that?
A guy who can do almost anything.
The Man with the Four-Way Hips. This is the new single from Tom Tom Club. The album is called Close to the Bone. Chris and Tina are in Tom Tom Club. You have brothers and sisters who are in this too, correct? Or is it just...
Well, my two sisters
Your two sisters.
sing, yeah.
And,
My brother co-wrote the lyrics.
Is your brother is in a band in D.C., isn't he?
A band called the Urban Verbs,
Right,
who
Urban
made two
Verbs.
records, but I think they've disbanded recently.
The fate of many a young band.
Well, you'll have to keep Tom Tom Club going to keep your family employed, I guess. Let's say this new one from Tom Tom Club, which is Chris and Tina and friends and relatives on BCN Boston. This is the Man with the Four-Way Hips on WBCN Boston. WBCN in Boston, it's 1 o'clock, and that's Tom Tom Club on the Rock of Boston. That's the new single, Man with the Four-Way Hips, or for lunch hour, the Man with the Four-Way Hips. Lips. Lips on BCN. Tina Weymouth and Chris Franz, the husband and wife team of Talking Heads, is here. Drummer and bass player are here in studio. They've been here for a while, and they're playing tonight at the Providence Civic Center. You can still get some tickets. There are some still available. Don't miss the show. It's a great one. That was really surprising me. I had seen you in the early days years ago, back in the 70s, when
At the Rat.
it was the Rat, and, David was the total focal point of the group, and his spasmodic kind of jerkiness was it was a little uncomfortable to watch the band. It wasn't. It was fun to listen to, but in terms of visually, it was I walked out kind of twitching myself a little bit. And then catching some of the later shows. I saw the one with Bustin', Adrian Belew, and incredible dance show. The overall impact of the band was just
Yeah,
amazing.
we actually have choreography and everything now.
It's amazing.
I mean, we don't exactly do the Temptation Walk or anything, but we do have some good dancing there.
And David's even toned down his dancing. So
Yeah, we also have costumes now. That's a big plus.
Ooh, can we get it?
We always avoided those type of things before, but now we even do costume changes. So check it out.
well, I will. I'm going to be headed down to see you guys tonight. I really love that. The last show I saw, and I'm looking forward to the one tonight. Hey, if I travel down the pike to see a show, you know it's a good one. So we'll catch you there tonight. Thank you, Chris and Tina, for being here.
Thank you.
Today. Have a great show. Great stay back here in New England while you're here. Come back again soon. Hopefully, you may even get to play Boston again someday. I don't remember the last time we've had a show in Boston. It's been...
Well, we played there. Yeah.
The Orpheum we played, but this time our stage wouldn't fit on it.
Yeah, we got a big stage, and so we got to have it's either got to be like a hockey rink or...
And the garden isn't exactly
or
our
something
style
like
either,
that.
so.
Well, glad you are playing close to town and down in Providence. So we will see you there tonight with
Okay.
Talking Heads. And Tom, did you do any of the Tom stuff in?
We're going to do one song, yeah. But it's a long song.
We'll wait till tonight to find out which one it is. Thanks again, Chris and Tina from Talking Heads and Tom Club on WBCN, the Rock of Boston.